Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Don Bacon.
And I'm Vanita Burnett.
And we're digital innovation leaders here in JCPS. I'm the technical digital innovation leader for middle schools.
And I am the technical digital innovation leader for elementary zone 2 schools.
All right, let's go ahead and dive in, I should even say. Dig in is actually what I should
say.
Dig
in, yes. Because we are the digital innovation team.
So we need technology in every classroom and in every student and teacher's hand because it is the pen and paper of our time. And it is the lens through which we experience much of our world. So today, specifically, we're going to be going over our digital transformation. And to that overall purpose, we want to give a broad overview of the how and why for our district's digital transformation. The overarching goal is to provide a sustainable system to standardize technology resources and supports across all schools that addresses the digital divide. So in looking at this, we're going to start off and we're kind of talking about the age of opportunity and inclusion. So this really began in 1954 with Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka. The Supreme Court's decision made equal education a right for all American citizens, regardless of race, class, or ethnicity. This transformed schools across the United States, and particularly here in JCPS, where the legacy of our integration efforts has provided us with schools that are racially diverse. Education dramatically changed from 1954 to the turn of the century. Laptops, projectors, and smart boards became the tools of education, with teachers delivering content in new and innovative ways. The last few years have accelerated our use of technology in classroom settings, and we will continue to see these changes moving forward. So this is just the history of where we've been, and as we're looking forward to what is this digital transformation for us. So this graph, as you can see here, we've got digital learning BC, and that's before COVID. And what we had was that in 2019, across America, there was $160 billion for the year being spent on digital learning. And the projection was that by 2034, 15 years from then, we would reach $1 trillion on spending on digital learning. But, something may have happened to kind of change that outlook. By March of 2020, we rushed home from our classrooms and offices to shelter in place from the pandemic. COVID-19 forced us to transfer our processes overnight. We shopped for groceries wearing masks and with gloves on. We worried about shortages of toilet paper. We experienced lots of civil unrest and ventured with fortitude into teaching through Microsoft Teams and Google Meets. And whether or not we were ready for that or not. And so that overnight change for us also changed our outlook on education. So 1.6 billion students were instantly online, unlike they had ever been before. Their classroom experience went from a desk in a classroom surrounded by their peers to online learning and lots of virtual meetings from home. The 2020 online learning experience challenged teachers to create engaging digital content and provide it virtually. Digital learning was not only new and challenging for our staff, it presented untold challenges to our students as well. And so here we are now, digital learning in our actual age. We've cut down the projection for spending on digital learning from 15 years to reach $1 trillion to just 8 years. 2027 is 5 years away, and honestly, 2022 is almost over. We're going to get there very quickly. And so that brings us to our new area of education, and that's the age of equity and opportunity. We started in 1954 with Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, seeking access to education for all. And then next, we focused on providing technology and knowledge to our students, namely through computer labs and occasional access to internet. Now, in the age of equity and opportunity, we seek to establish equity in educational resources through digital transformation. Every JCPS student will have an LTE-enabled device, providing 24/7 access to the internet, helping to address the digital divide. Before now, we ensured every teacher had a device and a projector to integrate technology into their classrooms. Now, every teacher and every student has a device. Every classroom has a smart panel, and teachers can provide content through engagement tools, including Lumio, Nearpod, Pear Deck, and Snow Live, furthering student engagement and achievement. By providing continuous digital access to our students, the age of equity and opportunity is a time where teaching and learning go beyond the classroom. And so on this slide, particularly, we've got, well, first, what we have is that we have on the left, on the map on the left shows the digital divide in Jefferson County. On this map, the more red an area is, the fewer houses there are with computer and internet access. The map shows a concentrated area in Western Jefferson County, where many of our students and families live, with homes without computers or internet service. And then on the right side, we can see the Opportunity Atlas map of Jefferson County. The Opportunity Atlas maps neighborhoods across the country and provides data on the opportunities available to children to rise out of poverty by the age of 35. The redder an area, the less opportunities there are to earn out of poverty. The concentrations of red areas on the digital divide map and the Opportunity Atlas map are correlated. In JCPS, we have the opportunity with one-to-one Chromebooks, many of them LTE enabled, to curtail the digital divide and make an impact on the Opportunity Atlas. As Dr. Polio has said, it's our moral obligation to do this work by providing devices to our students and families, having a positive impact in our county and city.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Don, for giving us that backstory and helping us dig into our why. Why are we doing this digital transformation? Why Everyone1 in JCPS? So now that we've covered that, now we're going to switch over and talk about our how. How do we make the digital transformation happen in JCPS? We are eliminating the digital divide. Remember that our students have only lived in a technology world compared to our world growing up. We need to adapt to that, right? With this being said, in JCPS, we intentionally and unapologetically focus on enhancing our students' experiences and exposure to technology. So we have another quote for you. We love quotes here, and I love this one here. Technology is an effective tool that can make education more meaningful and engaging for teachers and students alike. And we're going to tell you how. We're the team that tells you how, shows you how, and get in there and do the how with you, if that makes sense. All right, so we also like infographics on our team because it makes our what we're thinking and what we're trying to do, it makes it clear, right? So this infographic describes how our future state is now. If you look in the center, what do you notice? We have a student there in the center, right? Because in JCPS, we believe that everything that we do should be focused on our students, whether it's our why or how, whatever we do, it needs to go back to how does this affect our students? So if we look on the outer ring there, you see things like high-speed connectivity to schools, data privacy and security, the high-speed Wi-Fi throughout the schools. I recently learned that Kentucky, we're the first state that actually had this in every single school. Go yes. Kentucky, yes. Right. Commonwealth of Kentucky. Yeah. High quality, low cost devices, like so all of our students have devices, home internet access, We're special in JCPS because now our students are starting to get what we call LTE enabled devices, where they can connect anywhere they go. So no longer are the days that our students are moving from home to home and they can't do their work at home or join class at home. Because we're providing them with these devices that have the LTE ability in them, it's like a traveling cell phone, right? A working traveling cell phone, and they're able to join class no matter where they are, in the car, on the bus, at grandma's house, whoever's house. Then on the outer ring, we still have digital citizenship and responsible use. And then we have quality digital content and resources. So all of these things are happening in the background from you all, from our team. Our team, not just the innovation team, we have 3 branches of our team, right? That's why we're called IT3. So we have our information branch, and then we have our, who am I missing? Integration branch. I love you all. I did not forget about you all. We're doing all this stuff behind the scenes to make sure we can make sure that everything stays focused on the student there in the center. So this is where your help comes in, right? So now we're moving to the second circle, right? That middle circle where we need teachers on board. Our leadership is on board. Our assessments are improving because we're using everything that we have as far as technology effectively. All right, we can go. All right, so here's another infographic. I told you we like infographics, right? So here is our Everyone1 shared ownership model for this lovely, amazing digital transformation that we're going through. So if you look at this infographic, you'll notice that it is a circle, right? And this circle is divided into 3 equal parts, hence the title, shared, right? Everybody plays an equal part. Not only do the district leadership, which is our team and all the other district teams that we have, but I don't know what I was saying there, but the district has a part, the school has a part. So we have our part. We do our things in the background and we get out and we support the schools, but then the school also has a part. And inside that school, you have teams that we'll break down here in a second that constitutes showing ownership that everybody is a part of this digital transformation. And then even from the school, we have families that's part of this shared ownership model. You'll see in a moment how we break down that families, we try to provide information so that families will understand how students can take care of their devices at home, and how we actually would prefer that the families jump on these devices with the students, not only do work with them. Maybe some of our families are like trying to look for jobs or something. We are providing you the tools that you need so the whole family can be successful, because when you're successful, your student is successful. When they're successful, everybody is successful.
Absolutely.
And then digging deeper into this shared ownership model, we want to remind you that we are a diverse district. We have many culturally and linguistically diverse students, many of whom are still acquiring English. We have 15,000 English multilingual learners in our district, and we live in a digital society where everything is available online. However, this is the first time some of these families have ever had access to the internet, and they will be left out without it. This is especially true for our current wave of our new Cuban students and other refugee groups. So I love the story that one of our team members gave us. She shared a story about a family who had just came to our district from another country, and they didn't have access to all this wonderful technology that we're so used to having. And because JCPS is on it and we're prepared, we were able to provide them with their device day one and get them acclimated. So, and these students were almost ready to graduate from high school. And in order to graduate from high school, the jobs that we work has a lot of technology, deals with a lot of technology. And without us having this strong Everyone1 program in place, they probably would have been less prepared for school and our life outside of school. But because we had this in place and the school was awesome, the teachers were awesome, and got them acclimated with their device, they were a little bit more prepared to enter into the adult world outside of high school. So that's just one example of how this model, this shared ownership model, and our Everyone1 plan really, really focuses on our students as a whole, just helping them everywhere, in school, out of school, everywhere. All right, so now we want to look at these numbers. We have some post-COVID numbers. So if you look at the bottom, that talks, excuse me, that talks about our past. We had almost 13,000 Chromebooks. And then if you look at the top, now that we're 1-to-1 at all JCPS schools, now we have over 65,000 LTE enabled Chromebooks that has cellular data. So I'll give you a second to look at those numbers and just compare where we are today from where we were in the past, specifically around the 2018-2019 school year. So before we went to NTI. Look how many users are active.
That's what I was going to say.
100,000 plus. Isn't that amazing? Anything else stick out to you on here? Google Classrooms, how about that?
Yeah, and 3 million plus Google Classroom posts from staff and students. So that means that not only are people in Google Classroom, but they're actively using it every day. And that just means that the learning doesn't have to stop once the students walk out of your classroom door, right? They've got that device with them. They can be connected at home. They can be connected anywhere that they are.
That is amazing. I'm proud of us just looking at this one slide here. All right, we're going to keep rolling. Hopefully you had time to view that. All right, so now we're going to dig into, and you'll hear us say dig in all the time. That's our little catchphrase because we are the digital innovation team. And at the beginning of digital is dig. And at the beginning of innovation is in. And so we put it together. Somebody was cute and came up with dig in. So that's why we're always saying we're going to dig in.
No, you said that, but did you make sure to point out, like, so how do we make IT happen? Because we're the IT3 team.
You stole my thunder. I like it. So I wasn't sure if I was going to read this or how do we make it happen or IT happen? Like, how should I read that?
I don't know, but I like that we're included in the IT. That's all.
Yes, and if you look at our little symbol over there, you see the IT3. That's where they come from. We try. We're trying. Absolutely. I hope you guys are giving us a round of applause. All right, so how do we make it happen? Let's go. Hopefully they like our dad jokes here. All right, so IT3, who are we? Again, we're the people that a lot of us are doing works behind the scenes, starting with our information technology team. And you can read on the screen, this is what they do here. And we're going to dig into this a little bit more on the next slide. And then you have our integration team. So those are your behind the scenes people. And then you see where you have the green check mark. That's us. We are your digital innovation team, and we'll jump into what we do here on the next slide. So let's talk about our information technology team. This is your traditional IT team, if you will. These are your behind the scenes. You all will never see them, but they do some pretty important work for our district. So we want to make sure that we give a shout out to our information team. They are the ones who manage systems such as our account information, our internet access, our IT security, which is super important, right? And our hardware support. Then we have our integration team, technology integration. These are the people who makes what's it stand for?
What?
What's it stand for? It's supposed to say
information technology.
I need you to be excited. Rewind.
I wasn't ready.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. This is the team that makes
information technology
work for everyone. All right, these are the people who when you call in, you have issues with your devices. They are our care center support team. When you call 485-3552, everyone should know that number by heart. Those are the people who answer the phones. They also have a live chat. They're the ones who look at and help you all with your tickets. They're the ones who are over our inventory management system, currently ITAM. And then they also deal with the Google administration, such as our Google Suite, Google Accounts, and our Google Classroom. So anytime you have an issue and you definitely can't get to any one of us quickly, those are the people who you go to. You either call 3552 or you jump on a chat with them, and or you put in an IT ticket for them to be able to help you. And then last but certainly not least, you have us. We are your digital innovation team. We are the team that translates technology into instruction. We are the team that comes out and supports your schools directly. So you'll always see our faces in your schools. We are the team that helps with blending technology with core content strategies. And we're also the team that organizes the digital learning channel, which I know you have to know what that is because that is how you got here. Even if you don't know what it is, we're going to talk about that shortly, okay? So we can go to next.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. All right, so who are we? So as we said earlier, Don and I, we're a part of this team that you see right here. If you notice my beautiful face in the middle, focus there. All right, so this is our T-Deal team. We are your technical digital innovation team. Our team is split down the middle, and then there's 5 more members that we'll talk about on the next slide. So you have Tim there from zone 1, you have myself from zone 2, the best zone. Then we have Steve there from zone 3, and then we have Don from middle school, and then we have Jack from high school.
I can't just let you jump in there.
Go ahead. I knew that's why I took a breath. Go ahead.
When I'm here, middle school.
Tell us about middle school.
Just how wonderful we are.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
You see the purple shirt that I'm wearing?
The purple.
Yeah,
because
the best
you're
color.
The best color.
Absolutely.
Purple shirt, best zone.
It's true.
Okay. Do you see the curls in my hair up there?
I do.
You know why?
Why?
I don't know. I have nothing. The pearls.
But yeah,
the pearls. You know,
we're an excellent team, though. We're absolutely.
But all together, we are the T-Deals.
Yeah.
There you go. And so our team, even though everybody on our team can do like all the things, we also specialize in certain things. Let me slow down. Sorry. So the T-Deal team, your technical team, really kind of focuses on the infrastructure and the systems to our Everyone1. So obviously we focus on JCPS Everyone1. Device best practices. So best practices when you're using the devices, digital citizenship, loaner systems, day user systems, and student tech teams. And if you don't know what that is, it's okay. We'll explain all of that here shortly. Now let's talk about the other half of our team. These are pretty cool people. These are your, we like them. Now, all right. These are your ideal teams. They are your instructional digital innovation team. And you'll hear from them throughout the day as well. They'll like up next, Mindy will be doing Clear Touch. And then she'll come back and do some smart paneling. And yeah, that's her team there, that team there. So you have Rebecca from zone 1. You have Mindy. We know that her name says Melinda, but we call her Mindy. We have Mindy for zone 2. That's my partner, the best zone. We told you already. Then you have Russ from zone 3. And then we have, you can introduce your partner.
My partner and the other celebrity from our middle school team, Michelle Shorey.
And then we have Jackie from the high school team. I love our ideals. They are fun, happy people, and they are so knowledgeable about all of this digital engagement things that we have here. Like I said, we all do everything, but they kind of specialize in this a little more than we do. Your digital coaching cycles, engagement strategy, blended learning, digital artifact creations, one of my favorite parts, digital tool implementation, and okay, my favorite.
This is your favorite?
It is my favorite.
That's impressive. There's that many favorites.
It's that many favorites. STLP. Do you know why it's my favorite?
Why is it your favorite?
We don't have to talk about it today. Check my Twitter.
Student Technology Leadership Program.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just check my Twitter at Vanita B_teach.
Oh, okay.
It's pinned at the top. You'll see why it's my favorite.
I know why. How could I forget? Of course.
You're looking at a champ. Yes, I love it. And Russ and Steve leads that for us, and they are amazing. I always get excited when I see them out doing that work. All right. So now we're going to dig into a little bit of what are some specifics that our team can do. So we have what we call anchors. And these are some things that we focus on. So we have like an anchor, and then we have like some little anchors. I don't really know what you call it. Some sub anchors.
Are they all anchors and they're just have categories? I don't know.
Anchor category. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever you want. Anchor, sub, anchor, whatever you want. I just made that name up. All right. So we start with digital access. Anchorita. I like it. Yeah. Digital access, accessibility, and inclusion. So within that anchor, we break it down specifically to address that. We break it down to Afrocentric diversity and equity, digital citizenship, and special population support. And then another anchor is our digital coding and practical application. I felt like I spit when I said that. I'm sorry. I said practical a little hard. Digital coding and practical application. Okay, this is a fun anchor.
This is a great anchor. This is a lot of what I did in my classroom.
Of course, you like this anchor.
With these things. Oh, absolutely. This is where the fun gets in, though. Like robotics and Minecraft. How do you not love those?
You're right. Yeah. Coding and programming.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's fun. So definitely reach out to us if you are ready for some digital coding and practical applications in your classroom. So then we have the digital agility. This is the hard part for a lot of us. Just being digital agile, right? And knowing all the things. I tell a funny story. When I first came here, everybody on my team are iPhone users and Mac users, and I didn't even know how to touch a MacBook. I don't like it. I love my PC. However, because I'm digital agile, I had to learn how to use that. And I also had to make sure I know how to use Google Workspace, Apple, Windows, all the things, so that we can help all the people, no matter what your preferences are or what you have at your school. All right, so then we have student agency and engagement. And this is, I think of Mindy every time I read this, as well as Don, because they're the ones who lead it for our district. You have those interactive panels like Lumio and Snow that you can use on the panels. You have software like Nearpod and Pear Deck that I've seen a lot of teachers, especially out in middle school, I noticed, are using that a lot. And then blended learning and which is Screencastify, is an example of one way that you can do some blended learning things in your classroom. And then another anchor that we have is our student leadership. Okay, maybe this is my favorite. I have a lot of favorites. I love our team, hence why I'm here, right?
Well, STLP's in this with them.
Right, yeah. And it's like for real, the students. It's like, we're student centered, so
yeah. Well, especially the student leadership though. So you get the students, you see the students shine a lot with this one. Absolutely.
And that's like my favorite.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part, to see them excited about what they're doing and sharing with the world and communicating to the world what they've been doing in school and what means the most to them.
Would you say effectively communicators?
Effective communicators. I love it. Backpack. I love it. So with that being said, this is where students are able to really dig into their JCPS backpack and create artifacts, meaningful artifacts for their backpack. This is where your student technology leadership program comes in. So that's your STLP teams, and also your your student tech teams, which we'll dig in here in a second with student tech teams. I'm excited about that as well. I love to go out to schools and see the student tech teams. So I talked about who we are and what we do. Now I want to bridge this gap here between everyone and one and you, because even though we're back here doing all this work, we come out to your schools, you are still a very, very, very important part of JCPS Everyone to One. So let's dig in how you can help. So we have our digital transformation handbook, and give me a second while we go to our digital transformation handbook. So we have a digital transformation handbook available for our JCPS employees. And this is your resource for assigning devices, IT3 systems, and just overall support with this transformation. We're not going to go over the whole book, but we just want to show you kind of how it's set up. All right, so we have our statement here. This is the first page. It's a slideshow, so either you can click or you can use your arrows on your device, or you can go to the tabs over here on the side. So first, I'll read the statement because it's important to us. JCPS digital transformation. JCPS's digital transformation provides a sustainable system that standardizes technology resources and supports across all schools. This transformation creates a system that addresses the digital divide in our community while fostering engagement, innovation, and authentic learning experiences for all JCPS students. Boom. Yeah. I feel like I should drop the mic after that. Powerful statement. So then if you click over on the tabs, one more back, I'm sorry. Not the tabs yet. That's okay. I pushed the over button, and then this gives you the next arrow or whatever you call in slides. You have your table of contents. So our book is broken down into pretty much 7 sections. You have a section about your school teams. Then section 2 is all about your supports. And then section 3 is about the ticketing system that we use here in JCPS. And then section 4 is dedicated to specific information about Everyone1. So when we were talking about loaner systems, day users, which we'll get into as well. And then section 5 is your digital citizenship. Section 6 is about blended learning, which I think we might dig into today if we have time here. And then section 7, I can't say that word quickly, is about your inventory, our inventory systems. So like I said, we won't go over the whole book, but we just want to show you that this stuff is here. Like one word you'll hear us say a lot is your school innovation teams, or sometimes we'll cut it short and say SITS teams, and this is what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, you've got these people listed there. You've got your library media specialist, your school technology coordinator, and your school digital innovation. If you notice, it says leaders. And particularly, just because you know who these people are in your building, that's wonderful. There's no reason that you can't also be really involved in this process as well. One of the biggest things we want to see is that one of the best things we should see, is what I should say, is when we see more people involved, then the school's happier. There's technology that's throughout the building, right? We don't just want it sequestered with just a few people. We want everybody to be involved. That's why we want you to check out this digital transformation handbook as well.
All right, I think we have to jump back over to our slides.
All right. Okay.
I think we went back to the book.
Oh, we sure did. Oh, it was the link to that. Oh, okay. Here we go. We're back on track now. So here we've got a model that's going to show you what that digital transformation looks like from our tiered structure. So first, just kind of like what we talked about before, in the yellow, you've got our district support. You've got your information team, your integration team, and your innovation teams, right? Okay. So your zone digital innovation leaders, particularly, you've got your TDILs, which are like me and Benita, and you also have those IDILs. And we meet with your school innovation teams, which is in the blue. That's your STC, your school technology coordinator, your LMS, so your library media specialist. You've got those school digital innovation leaders, and that can just be a teacher, you know, even if they're not necessarily teaching a technology course or particularly involved in technology, they can still be that SDIL. We want anybody who's really interested in learning more about technology and really making sure that permeates throughout your building involved in that. You've got SDLP, which we've talked about before. This is just something that's great, as well as your student tech teams. And I'm going to harp on student tech teams for just a moment, only because it's something that I absolutely love. While I was an STC at the school that I was at before I took on this job.
Well, harp on.
Yeah, those students just helped me a ton. And we actually, have kept some like wonderful relationships. I have one who now works on maintenance on aircrafts for the U.S. Navy, and he's in Japan. And it's one of those amazing things where he kind of like, he talks about, there were some skills that I learned while I was on the student tech team that I brought into this position, which just absolutely blew my mind.
That is so sweet.
But you know what, though?
Look at the difference that you're making in lives of our students.
But that's because we want to be student-centered, right? We want to give students everything possible, and that's why we have this structure available to us. That's why we want you to utilize all of us here from the innovation team, everybody from those IT3 branches as well, because we want to support you in the best way possible, because we want to have great outcomes for students. That's what that center part here is. That's what the nucleus of our graph here is, and that's our goal.
And we want more stories. I love it.
So Everyone1 in the digital transformation. So now that everyone is one-to-one, you can't just rely on just one person in your building for shared ownership. So every educator, student, and parent plays an important role in that transformation. So we're going to focus on the teacher perspective, mostly because that's who we assume is with us today. But if you want to look back at that page 19 of the digital transformation handbook, it really goes over what that shared ownership model is, right? So the district's involved. Obviously, we're making sure that these devices get to you. The school is involved because you're making sure the devices get into the hands of those students. But you want to think of it past as just a school device, right? In years prior, we're very used to that computer lab model. Maybe we had some laptops in a cart, and we'd let students use those, and then we're going to get them right back because we want to keep them safe. But safety being important, and we want to make sure that students are safe, and that's why we have a lot of our safeguards when it comes to internet and things of that sort. But the other thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is that we have these students really taking ownership of that device. when the student feels like it's theirs, then they're going to take that care of it. And they're going to also use it in the way that's appropriate for them in the situations that they're in. So when they're at school, when they're doing school things, they're focused on school. But then this can also be that device that supports their family as well, whether that be them getting together to apply for jobs or do some things of that sort, or if that means that they're using it in a personal way, that's okay. We want the student to feel like it's their device while they're here with us in JCPS.
Absolutely.
So first of all, this is like my favorite GIF on the planet. These students getting their devices, using them in class and dancing. Oh my gosh, it's just, we're not going to discuss that right now. So when it comes to this is the most important part of our digital transformation, is making sure that every student has a device in our Everyone1 initiative. Everyone1 provides mobility and alleviates uncertainty. So we've got extended learning opportunities and helps in that digital divide. So just like what we talked about earlier on, if you didn't get a chance to see that, we know that there's a digital divide in our city, in our county. And so by providing these devices, we know that we're breaking that down. But just as well, this is the type of engagement that we want to see happening, right? Every student has a device, but sometimes we think about those as the replacement for pen and paper, when these can be so enriching for your classroom. And that's what we really want to happen as well. Okay.
And we're definitely not trying to replace it all the way, like side by side, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, who told me that? Michelle Shorey on our team. Is that sometimes you actually need both the computer and the pen and paper. So yeah. That was my little 2 cents on your part. Sorry.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. So next we're going to talk about loaner systems. And this is another support for our JCPS Everyone-to-One plan. So if you look here, you've got a 10% device overage maintained at your school. And what that really means is that if you had 500 students at your school, that means that you should have 550 student devices at your school as well. And we do this so that a student can check out a device if they forgot their device at home that day, maybe they forgot to charge it overnight, or it has an issue and it needs to be repaired. Okay. Just as well, we like to see these loaner systems. We want to see them really centralized within your school. Maybe that is your library media specialist. They check out that device. They're already checking out things anyways. They've got that system down. And so students can come to that person. Your STC, maybe since they know technology already, maybe they travel around in the morning and in the afternoon getting those loaner devices out to students. Or, which would be a great model, and I love when I see this, you could have a student tech team do that. So you could have the student tech team, maybe they've got a system in place where they can figure out which students need a device for the day, and they're checking those out to those students so that they can use them. But these loaner systems are really there to make sure that just because we have a small issue, whether it be it's left at home or whatever else, a student can still use the device for the day.
You know, my favorite part about that student tech team and how we have the word empower your students there is that I have seen so many great student tech teams in elementary.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are really running a loaner system at their school. So that just lets you know everybody can do it. Elementary school, middle school, high school, it doesn't matter what level you're on. The student tech teams are like so important to this whole digital transformation.
Absolutely.
It's all about them anyway, right?
That's wonderful.
So speaking of loaner systems.
Right. And speaking, I'm glad that you said levels. So something that we've been kind of talking about is what are the different levels that we're looking at when we're talking about loaner systems? And particularly, I really like this because I remember when I was asked to kind of implement a loaner system, I was sort of overwhelmed by this idea. I've got to come up with something else to really do. So if you've got a loaner system, you're working on it, you're trying to figure out how can we best get those things out. This is just one of those things that we from our TDL team would really discuss with you on what that would look like as you're building up towards that. Obviously, that centralized loaner system is really what we're looking for. But as you're building on your loaner system, we can also provide you some support on what that might look like for your school.
Awesome. Thank you.
Just as well, besides loaner systems, we also have this day user program. And so if you look at page 23 of the Digital Transformation Handbook, day user programs are established as a support model that provides students with devices necessary to support their learning in school, but also takes into account the need for device care, safety, and accountability. A day user is a student who is required to leave their device at school full-time due to one or more reasons. The reasons can include families declining that take-home opportunity, a student habitually forgets to bring their device or charge it or whatever else, or a student has intentionally, repeatedly damaged that device. Now, what day users are going to look like depends upon your school, depends upon the things that you want to put in place. But a big part of this really comes into that digital citizenship. So how can you, give expectations to your students to make sure that they are prepared to do that? Teachers must make learning and assignment accommodations for students in the day user program as well. So lack of an at-home device cannot be a reason for a lack of instruction as well.
That is so important.
Yes,
Probably why it's as important, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right, here's your favorite again.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more time.
I'm going to say absolutely like 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
I love student tech teams. They support your school technology initiatives. So device management, incident resolution, support redundancy. There's all kinds of things that we see at schools that we feel like sometimes they are unique to us because we're in our classrooms. And so we run into a technology issue and we don't know what to do. Who do we turn to? So these student tech teams are there for a couple of reasons. One, they can help support those learner systems and those day users, but also these student tech teams can help on some of those just very what STCs or TDLs might consider to be, run-of-the-mill sort of issues that can help. If you got a student tech team member in your classroom, they can jump up and help you with that smart panel. I know I had my student tech teams help with projectors and printers, and so those things can really lessen some of the stress that we experience as teachers as well by empowering those students to help us throughout the day.
I appreciated my student tech team. They know how to work the panels better than I did. And it was so helpful to have them in my class, helping me with that. Even when I was in the class, we started rolling out the Chromebooks and they knew all the shortcuts.
Yeah.
And that made them shine and made them feel better that they knew something more than a teacher.
There was one year where we had some different Chromebooks and I had to press a different key to power wash. And they actually figured it out before I did.
Of course.
Now that they're graduated, I can say that now. But at the time, I was like slightly embarrassed. I was like, what do you mean he knows that?
Yes.
It was wonderful to have them. And that's why we want you to have them as well.
That's right.
We're not going to watch that video.
Yeah, there's a video you can watch at your own.
So what's next?
Let's talk about it. What's next?
So the big thing that we want to talk about is that technology is not a silver bullet. It does not cure all of the problems that we're facing. So content and learning comes before your technology. And we just heard this on Friday, and so this quote really stuck with us.
Absolutely.
As thoughtful users of learning technologies, we all should continually ask the question, technology for the purpose of what? Before you got a tip computer, before you got the Chromebooks in your classroom, before you got that smart panel, there were issues that teachers were facing, and that's why these things were implemented. But anytime that you go to use the technology, you should really be thinking about can this increase the learning, and how can this make me more efficient? Technology for technology's sake isn't what we're doing. What we're doing is we're enriching the opportunities available to our students, because remember, we're keeping students at the center of what we do.
Absolutely. So we are digital learning coaches. So we definitely, when we come out to your schools to help you, we're always going to ask you, what are you working on? What are you currently working on? What do you plan on working on in the next few weeks? And then we start planning with you there. And then we can say, okay, maybe you can use this to enhance your instruction. We'll never come and start with technology first.
No.
All right.
And remember that why. So just like what we went over before, just like what I was talking about, really keeping the student at the absolute center of what you are doing. All of these other things that are there, right? High-speed connectivities to schools, high-speed Wi-Fi throughout your school. That is absolutely wonderful. But how is that helping your students learn? How is that helping your students become, successful leaders that we want them to be?
Yes. Once again, we are your TDL team. If you need to reach out to us, please reach out to us. We would love to help you and come out into your schools and dig in with you. We hope that you have enjoyed your time with us. We look forward to seeing ways that you all are enhancing and using Everyone1 at your school.
Thank you.
Have a good day.